financial aid office at North Seattle College, and I'll be going over financial aid, the process, and tips. Next, please. I'm sorry. Okay, so biggest question is, how am I going to pay for college? There's the obvious, you can pay out of pocket all at once, or most colleges have a payment plan available in which you'll pay across several months. You can also use scholarships to help pay for your tuition and other needs. And then there is state and federal funding, which is awarded through the financial aid office. And through the financial aid office, you'll be awarded all of these things, or one or two. So it'll be grants, which is free money that you don't have to pay back. Work study funds, which is funds that you earn while working a part-time job. Students need to seek employment on their own, so they'll fill out an application and go through an interview just like a regular job. And then loans, it's borrowed money that you'll eventually have to pay back, but those are optional. For universities, it'll be part of the package award. So when a student logs into their financial aid portal, they'll be able to see the awards, and then loans will be an option on there for them to accept. But for colleges like ours, you'll probably have to fill out a loan request form. And then funding is determined by your income and availability of funds. So you fill out, or you apply for financial aid by filling out a FAFSA or a WASFA. You'll fill out a FAFSA if you're a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, and you'll fill out the WASFA if you're an undocumented dreamer or DACA student. Only one application is required, so you'll only fill out one or the other, not both. If you're eligible to fill out the FAFSA, you're still considered for state funding. If you're not sure which one to fill out, you can start out the WASFA, and it has the survey at the very beginning, which you'll answer a few questions and it'll tell you if you're eligible to fill out the FAFSA. And then applications are always free. If you're asked to pay for a fee on the website you're on the wrong website. It's probably a scam. Some students also receive emails of a service to help you fill out the FAFSA. Don't do that. Those are most likely scams. We had one student who did use a service through the email advertisement she received, and it was not good. But those are the two websites. You'll have to submit an application for every academic year. Applications open for the following academic year on October 1st. So if the student is starting next fall, not this upcoming one, they'll fill out the application that's going to open on October 1st of this year. And be aware of submission deadlines, because different schools will have different priority deadlines. For example, ours at North is March 15th, and then UW was January 15th. And the priority deadline basically ensures that you're looked at for all available funding sources. So there's 3 different funding sources, mainly of the grants. It'll be federal grants, state grants, and institutional grants. State and institutional grants are budget-based, so we run out of those funding sources. The federal grant is the only grant that's available year-round. So if you fill it out later, then we might be out of state and institutional grants. So it's best to apply when it's open. So after you submit your FAFSA or WASFA, the financial aid office will review it for completion, accuracy, and conflicting info. If we need additional things from the student, they'll be able to see it on the financial aid portal, and they'll also be sent emails about the required documents that they'll need to submit. And then students should check with the financial aid office regarding their application status, especially if they don't hear from us. just because sometimes there might be a glitch and the application wasn't uploaded into our system correctly. So if you're not seeing any emails from us, please contact us. And then after we review the file, students will receive a letter of ineligibility or a notification to look at their financial aid portal and review the awards. After you've been awarded financial aid, you are required to read the conditions of award and the satisfactory academic progress policy. Some schools might not have conditions of award as the name of the document. It might be like terms and conditions or policy and procedures, but the idea is the same. It's just the rules of how you maintain your financial aid eligibility. It'll have things like dates that you should absolutely not drop out of your classes by, because even if you have emergency situations like your house catches on fire, if you drop out of the quarter completely before the date, you'll be required to make a repayment, even if it was a grant. It's just because when you drop out, you're not eligible to receive that funding anymore. How financial aid awards are calculated. So it's cost of attendance, which is comprised of tuition and fees, books and supplies, room and board, living expenses, transportation, personal expenses related to the college. And then your expected family contribution, the EFC, is generated by the FAFSA or WASFA based on the income information you input. And then from that, we figure out what your financial need is. So for example, if the cost of attendance was $12,500 and your EFC was 0, then your need is $12,500. If your EFC was $11,500, then your need is $1,000. So the EFC is basically what the FAFSA or WASFA determines that you're able to pay out of pocket for school. To access the financial aid portal, you'll just want to go through the college website's financial aid page to go to it, just because there's a college code embedded into the link that takes you to the portal. If you have the portal bookmarked and you go through your bookmark to go to the portal, it might have an error when you log into it, saying like college code is required because it's not embedded in there. So on the portal, you'll be able to see the awards and then information we need from the student. In this example, there isn't any required documents, but you can see that you can download the conditions of award and whatnot. If we did need additional documents, there would be a button where it says upload attachment and you could upload it. The only documents that we can't take as an upload would be identification documents. We need those to see those in see the original document to verify it. Other tools and resources you might find helpful is a net price calculator. It's good to give you an idea, but don't use it as something exact. You can see that on the left side, that's North, and we have an example from 2016-17. And then the right side is from UW, and those might not be the actual awards that your student will receive. And then you could generate the shopping sheet through the financial aid portal, and you can see that the cost of attendance is on there. And then if the student was awarded any financial aid, it'll also be in that second box there. And then basically the difference between the two would be what you probably pay out of pocket. The college scorecard is done by the Department of Education. So basically you could search an area or a specific school, and it'll have the information of annual or average annual cost. So basically after financial aid, what you probably pay out of pocket. And then it has the graduation rate. Ours says 23%, but that's not accounting for students who will transfer out of UW before graduating. Transfer out of our school to a 4-year before graduating. And then there's other resources available that students can receive if they're not financially eligible. The Workforce Education Career Training Grants, they'll probably not be available at 4-year institutions because they're generally certificate or 2-year programs that are professional technical programs at colleges. And then there's also institutional scholarships, and those are scholarships through the school. It's not through the financial aid office, so applying for FAFSA wouldn't apply you for the scholarship. You'll have to check and see what the contact information for them is to apply for them. And then outside scholarships, so you could Google some, but there's also scholarship search engines that you can use to see what scholarships are available. Washboard.org is one of them. It's basically a list of Washington State scholarships. But make sure if you are looking at outside scholarships that you're not paying a fee for it, because like FAFSA or WASA, if you're on something that you need to pay for the service, it's probably not legitimate. Institutional scholarships are really good though, because it's usually, the amount is usually pretty good. And then especially at universities, those scholarships, some of them might follow the student for the duration that they're there. So like all 4 years paid for. And then if a student is a veteran or child of a veteran, you can see if they're eligible for veterans benefits. So tips, apply early. Priority deadlines vary from school to school. Like I said, ours was later than UW's, so make sure you check the college website to see what their deadlines are, because if you don't apply early enough, you might not get the maximum funding that the student's eligible for. Students need to check their emails on a regular basis, because if we email you because there's conflicting information or additional information that we need and you don't respond within 1 to 2 days, then we're not going to review your file like early, and at that point we're running low on institutional and state funding. Talk to an advisor, especially if you're not sure what classes to take or you're struggling in class. They'll have tips for you to how you should handle it, and check with the financial aid office before making any schedule changes, especially after the start of the quarter, because like I said, if you drop out or you drop a class, you might owe a repayment. We really don't want students to owe money back. Ask questions. There are no stupid questions. Financial aid, a lot of rules, because it's federal money and state money. So ask away, because we want to help you. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
How many, you were told in a couple of other sessions that sometimes they look at like your home equity, and do you know what?
It's part of the financial aid application. So on the FAFSA, WASFA, in addition to asking for the tax information, they'll ask like, how much are your assets worth? Do you have business, farm investments? How much do you have in savings and things like that? So it goes in.
Is pretty common.
Yeah, it'll go into the FAFSA calculation. But generally, they won't count the one that you live in. So if you have additional houses, they would ask you how much they're worth. Yeah. any other questions while I think about what I was gonna say?
What are merit scholarships based on most of the time?
Merit-based scholarships are basically based on like your performance in school. It doesn't really factor your need, like if your income.
So you're talking GPA,
Yeah.
SAT.
SAT,
Mhm.
ACT also,
Mhm.
What about IB?
I'm sorry.
IB, she said.
And it's, even if you think your income's too high, still fill out a FAFSA. You never know, worst case scenario, you don't get money like you were expecting. But if you're applying to scholarships, a lot of them will ask you to fill out the FAFSA anyways. You know.
Is there a cutoff of FAFSA? Does it go, do you not get money at 100,000 or 200,000 or?
It's based on their calculations, so various factors, and then household size. So I can't tell you
Okay.
what the exact cap is, yeah.
And do you happen to know if you're divorced, they want both incomes, even if there's not a legal, if one person's a legal guardian and?
So it'll ask, on the FAFSA, it'll ask, what's your current marital status? And then it'll ask for the income information. If you filed as like married filing jointly, just separate out your own income if you were separated or divorced at the time that the FAFSA was being filled out. Does that make sense?
No.
So if you're divorced but you identify as single, you would file it as a single person or as a divorced
Well,
person?
so the FAFSA uses the information from the prior year. So for example, if you were filling out the FAFSA for the next school year and the application is open on October 1st, it'll be asking for 2018 information. So if you
Okay.
filed as married filing jointly in 2018, if you were divorced by the time that you're filling out the FAFSA, you can just put in your own income information.
Okay, and it wouldn't need both parents?
No,
They're not gonna ask you what the kid lives where or so it makes sense to have the parent that makes less fill out the FAFSA?
you're supposed to put down the parent that the student is living with or being
I
provided.
think it's whoever
Yeah.
claims them on their taxes.
So whoever claimed them that year in 2018, even though in previous years they might claim, the other parent might claim?
It's so it'll be whoever's providing more than half the support of the child. Yeah.
Good questions. That did not come up in the other sessions.
I guess it'll be clearer when I get to it, but they're looking at 2018 taxes, correct?
For the next
For
school year.
this coming year.
Or,
Yeah.
So
So,
if one parent didn't, if you alternate every other year who claims the kid on taxes, they're looking at 2018, are they gonna wanna see who claimed the kid in 2018? Or do we get to pick a?
Well, it's not gonna be, so if the kid is living with you and you're providing for their living expenses and whatever, but the other parent claimed the kid as on their taxes for whatever reasons, you would still claim them, or they would still put you on their FAFSA. It's whoever's providing for them,
And if you're both providing for them, you probably have to put
whoever
both.
provides more.
Okay,
Yeah.
but they have no way of knowing who provides more.
No. But as a financial aid person, I would tell you what they're asking of you, so, yeah.
If it's joint, you file jointly. If it's one has legal guardianship, then that one only has to show that.
If you're a parent, you're not a legal guardian.
Well, say if you have joint custody or if you just have sole custody.
Yeah,
So joint, you have to put both informations in.
well,
Sole custody would only have to be the custody of
if you're
that.
separated and you're not living together and child is only living with one parent, it would be that parent that the child is living with.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's and it's only gonna be one parent's information that's gonna be on there if
Okay.
you're not together anymore.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, and you'll still answer the, what did you file as married filing jointly, if that's the status it was. And then financial aid office will probably have to ask you to, turn in some documents to verify that that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A lot of information on Google. It's all accurate though. But there's also links to the IRS website, so there's a lot of information on the FAFSA website about that.
On the IRS website?
In IRS, yeah.
Okay.
And then the forms will tell you to,
Okay.
if you're selected for verification, it'll tell you how to fill it out.
Well, I guess I'm just, because we're just sophomores, so, you know, my son's a sophomore,
Yeah.
so we're kind of leading up to this. I hear horror stories from book club. Book club's very distressing. It's nothing worse than going to book club and hearing everybody's stories. But is there anything that we should be doing now, maybe financially or savings? I feel like someone said something to me, oh, you should be doing this, or you should be doing that, or, you know, like I have a 529, I'm putting some stuff in there. You know, like, I just don't
Yeah.
know if there's sort of, from a financial aid standpoint, ways we should be thinking about where money goes or what we're doing, so that when we, because we're a little ways out from that, whatever tax year that is gonna be that they look at, if there's something that we should be doing in terms of maybe where savings money goes, or is it better to sit on it in a
Reducing your,
savings account and put it in an
reducing your
IRA?
taxable income is always
Yeah.
a question, right?
But yeah, I mean, or throw it in the 529, or is that a bad place to put, I don't even know if there's things that we should be doing differently.
529 is not a bad idea. I mean, even if they're financial aid eligible, like I was telling someone in the session earlier, if they're financial aid eligible and they want to go to a community college, 2-year college, and before they transfer, tuition's going to be cheaper there.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll just use the financial aid and not use the 529 plan, because eventually when they transfer to the 4-year, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
And then if they wanted to go into a master's or a PhD,
Mhm.
they can still use the 529,
Yeah.
because after they get their bachelor's, they're not eligible for state or federal funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything, it sounds like. And then I think also it's helpful to help your kid figure out what they wanna do. I know that might be hard, but, you know, if they, especially if they can focus on a career or some kind of a degree that is needed, highly needed, sometimes there's gonna be more money where a career or a degree is
Yeah.
needed versus, you know, there's like a lot of people with a degree in psychology, so, or English. I mean, they're not bad liberal arts degrees, but if your kid or you are worried about getting the best deal for college, it would be a good idea to look at a career or a degree that's gonna be awarded scholarships.
Yeah, some some degrees some scholarships are program specific, so they can definitely look at those.
And a lot of companies, if you work for them, you hear they help pay for your school, so if a student is working part-time and going to school, it's always a really good deal.
Starbucks will pay for your kids' college if they work
Yeah.
20 hours a week.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
if the student works someplace, it's good to check out and see if they have scholarships available. For North, there's a lot of students who work at Dick's, and Dick's are paying for their tuition.